Welcome to the Christy Jones Show. This is your go-to podcast for living life to the fullest. I am a life and empowerment coach, speaker, and business owner in multifamily real estate. I am a woman passionate about helping others build a life that they truly desire. We'll talk about how to make the most out of every day, from setting meaningful goals to embracing the present moment. So join us as we explore the depths of living a life that is full of joy, purpose, and satisfaction. Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Christy Jones Show, where I love to talk about all the things to live your life to the fullest. And super excited for today. I have a special guest. Her name is Tyler Skinner. She is the founder of Women Making Waves. Cannot wait to have her on today and have her share with you what she is doing, what she is creating, what she has built with Women Making Waves. You are not going to want to miss this. Also, I want to hear her thoughts on when she thinks of living life to the fullest as a woman in today's life, in today's age. I want to hear what that means to her. So I don't want to hesitate anymore. Let's get started and let's bring on Tyler Skinner. Well, hello, and you guys, welcome. If you just listened to the intro to this podcast, I'm pretty pumped up to talk to Tyler Skinner today. So welcome, Tyler. I'm so glad you're here. So this is Tyler Skinner. She is the founder of Women Making Waves. She is a community builder. She is a mom of two, a wife, all the things. I mean, she seriously is about bringing community and connection with women and doing such amazing things. I'm so glad that we get this chance to chat because I really want, I was reading your mission statement a minute ago from your Next Wave manual. To support the next wave of women on their journey as they navigate life, we connect them to diverse female mentors across various disciplines and industries so that they can innovate and create from a place of trust. And that is so dialed in. It's so specific. And I think that speaks to a lot of women when they see that. So thank you so much for being on today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm equally as thrilled to be on the show because you are somebody that I admire very much in so many ways. And we had an instant connection. I feel like there's a lot of synergy with the work you do, with who you are, who you embody in the world, what the big waves you're making. And I'm just excited to be a guest on the show and get to share a little bit more with your audience.
Thank you, Tyler. Well, I real quick, I do want to say when we first met, I think you did the opening. This was at Cal Poly at the University for Women in Business, that conference a little over a year ago. And wasn't it an evening, like a reception, and you did the opening for that? Yes. I remember that's the first time.
Conference dinner.
Yes. And just connected. What I witnessed was how you connected to the women in that room, and you could tell they were really dialed in with what you were sharing that night. And then ever since then we started talking, and there's just been this this synergy of both what we stand for and the work we do. So I think it was kind of meant to be that now, a year and a half later, we're still doing things together.
Oh, I think so. I think absolutely. And we just wrapped a beautiful retreat in San Diego, in Carlsbad, my hometown, and where you reside part-time. And I think it's just really, that was a great way for us to kind of full circle come back together and do something really special for the San Diego community in SoCal.
It really was. Well, start off by sharing with my listeners. Talk to me about what is Women Making Waves. Give them the rundown on that, and then let us know how it began for you. How did you start that?
Yeah, it's really what's coming up for me more and more is exactly what you just read in the mission. It's that learning to lead from a place of trust. Trust is the resounding theme in everything that we do, and it's going inward. It was that deeper connection to self so that you can then connect to others. Because if we don't know ourselves, if we don't know what we're made of, what our why is, what's exciting us, what's lighting us up, what we're going for, what do we really want to kind of aim for, then it's really hard for us to find those people and those spaces and places to get creative in, to connect in, to play in, to be more innovative, right? So for me, Women Making Waves was passionate, driven women that were just like I want more, or I want this, or I don't want this. This isn't serving me. I desire more of this in my life. And they were just learning to navigate all of that. And we don't have to do it alone. And that was really the main purpose, is that you build a community with culture at the core, this culture of support and of true connection and authenticity and vulnerability, being really vulnerable and open to share, and creating that safe space is our job, right? That was my purpose, was just really leaning into who I am and my zone of genius as that connector, that community building piece. And for so long, I did that for others, totally ignoring the fact that I myself am the shadow artist. I myself am this creative being. I want to play there too. Like, I'm also part of this equation. So I think that that's what really turned everything around. And COVID really did that. I'm sure we'll get into it as we move the conversation, but COVID is really what turned this all inward for me.
That was the catalyst, huh? Yeah. Yeah. So you said something a second ago, and I'm wondering how, because all the things that you are creating, the safe space, the community, all of that with women, we don't really learn that, do we? It coming up through the ranks of life and through schooling and through, we start our careers, and then we're just kind of there. And right, because
we're in it. I love it. I see you go there. It's like, yeah, we're just in it.
We're just in it. And then what? And so women just kind of flounder around, maybe feel like they're running solo. So is that something that you commonly hear when women come together? Because first of all, you're based in Central Coast, California. We are. But you are expanding and spreading. That's why you went down to Southern California. I mean, you kind of are spreading out in your reach, honestly. And so when you do, whether it's virtual events or local events or in-person events, what do you find that women are the most surprised about when they get involved with Women Making Waves?
Honestly, it's that it's real. They almost are like, pinch me. Like, this is what I really wanted, or I needed, or I've been seeking. But they've been to other things that have led them to believe otherwise, right? That with women it's competitive. With women, they don't feel safe. Don't feel like they can ask questions. They don't want to be perceived as not knowing something, or that they're inferior, or they don't understand something. They want to have it all together, which is not reality. Like, that just isn't going to work, right? And I think that's why I meant about COVID, is that what we saw in that time was that collectively, we were all dealing with this at the same time, and all shut down and going through a lot of things. We all experienced it in different ways. But what I saw with women in particular was that finally turning when we got that quiet, or when you got that space. So what we do in our events is we focus, it's called pause and play. We focus on the pause, because that grounding, that meditative time, that time for you to just be with yourself, or get to experience something where it could be a mindfulness practice, an intention setting, whatever that may be, right? That we're doing. And then the play is to enjoy, to really celebrate who we are, how far we've come, where we are on the journey. Like, where you belong is here. This is who you are today in front of me. I'm just seeing you. I'm witnessing you. I'm not have a preconceived notion of you. I'm not thinking you need to be something else to belong. And there's no requirement. So a lot of women will come and say, what if I'm not a wave maker? And how do I know if I'm a wave maker? And I said, you are. Do you desire to make impact in the world? Period. That could be your family. That can be in your community. That can be in your job. It could be your business. It really doesn't matter to us. And I think when women come, they're surprised by that. Like, oh, I can just not wear makeup, and I can be myself, and I can, I can show up as me, and I'm in. I'm like welcomed and received and loved on and seen.
I know it takes away that whole layer of that judgment that sometimes we feel going into those type of situations, right? Of how will I be received? And so I think it just breaks down that barrier where you're telling the women, you don't have to worry about all that. You don't have to worry about all that frivolous stuff. You don't have to worry about that. You just come as you are. And then you kind of walk them through your events. You kind of create this space, right? I saw that at Waves of Wellness, that the honesty, the realness. I mean, you really can't come to one of these and not be real.
Yes. And you'll feel it, right?
You feel it totally. You
Yeah, you'll
totally
feel
feel
it instantly.
it. Hmm.
And women are maybe they're like, ugh, and my thing is if you show up,
Yeah.
we're gonna carry you, we're gonna guide you, we're gonna help you, we're gonna support you. If you just meet me halfway, that's what I tell
Right.
a lot of women, even in our team.
Right.
Meet me
Mhm.
halfway, and then we'll do the rest.
Right.
Just show up, get in your car. It's like going
Yeah.
to the gym, right? Just get
Yeah.
dressed, get in the
I
car,
know. It's the hardest part.
just get up and go. And then when you get there, you're like, oh yeah. And after that
Yeah.
workout or after that experience, a yoga
Yeah.
class, whatever, you might be like, wow, that I really needed that today.
Hmm.
I feel great. I
Yeah.
feel elated. I feel like I sweat a little. I move my body. That's kind
Yeah.
of the feeling I get that. I equate that to what it feels like at some of these events. Like I
Hmm.
made connections. I got to
Hmm.
share some of my story. I got to shine a little bit. I got to
Hmm.
meet other people and I got to do fun things and I got to get out of
Yeah.
my comfort zone in a
Right.
very safe way.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. So besides the events that you do, talk more about the Next Wave that just started and that program, because I am super impressed with the workbook that you've put together. I haven't said that I didn't in the intro, I didn't say that you had invited me on as a mentor into the Next Wave program, which I am very honored and very excited to serve in that way. Once you gave me the workbook, I was going through it and was very impressed with what you'd put together. So tell us a little bit about the Next Wave and what's that about.
Oh gosh, the next wave is literally 2 years in the making.
Mm.
It started out as a different program completely. It's a reimagined program. It was something that we did in the midst of the lockdown virtually that we thought
Mhm.
we would help women pivot out of, if they're changing careers and they're figuring things out. And a lot of the focus was, these industries like engineering or STEM fields where they're
Mhm.
marginalized women, right? There's not as many women represented. So it
Mhm.
was women that felt like, okay, look, I don't want to be in this company anymore. I want to do something different. Maybe I want to start my
Mhm.
own business.
Mhm.
And when I did that, I did it with a group of partners. It didn't, although it went off well, and I would say by all means was successful, there
Uh-huh.
was a piece that was missing for me.
Okay.
And I was the creator of that. I was the igniter. I was like the carrying the torch. I
Yeah.
came up with the name Evoke the Leader Within, which is now part of Next Wave. So that comes from me. That's my creativity. That's where I like
Mhm.
love to come up with mottos, names, themes. And so I came up with all this, brought these women together, coaches, some other
Mhm.
women in different industries. And I thought, let's do this and put a speaker series on, right?
Mhm.
And it didn't land though at the end. I just felt
Mhm.
like, okay, yes, and
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I felt
So
after
you felt a little
it wasn't
like something
I was
wasn't.
missing something. And then I
Mhm.
started going to Cal Poly, where I
Mhm.
went to school, and I started to speak with students and I started to talk to my friends who had college age women, and I started to meet more women and
Uh-huh.
really listen. And what I heard was, oh yeah, we've got all this training and all these amazing, and not everyone has the opportunity to go to college, by the way. I want to be clear about that. We're not just focused on women in college. This is for
Right.
everyone. You're
Right.
even paired up with a woman who's in her 50s.
I And we have so much in common. We have so much in common. We both did not take the traditional route of going to college. I mean, it's crazy. So, anyways.
So mentorship, women, I think a lot of times we have to be tapped for leadership roles or for speaking opportunities or all these
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
And I felt like if you feel like you are the entrepreneur of your life, like not entrepreneurs in the sense you own a business, if you feel like you're leading your life in some way or you want to be at the
Mhm.
forefront of that, right? More, what does that look like for you? And so we go through things again, it's turning within. So the Evoke the
Mhm.
Leader Within is for college age women because we identified that that was a hole in the donut. There wasn't programming
Mhm.
designed for women in that category. There were
Mhm.
young women. My daughters are 12 and 7. There's tons of leadership programming for young women, Girl Scouts and all kinds of things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So,
And
yeah.
there are all these great programs. And then I saw once they get out of high school and they go to college, it's kind of like, okay, you left the nest, you're doing your thing, you're figuring it out and flying solo in some ways. And a lot of these women still had a lot of, I don't know my why, I don't know who I am, I don't know my
Mhm.
values. And they wanted to know more about the mental health piece. And they wanted to learn, like, how do I navigate some of this anxiety, these
Mhm.
things I'm feeling, I'm seeing in the world. And we just said, yeah, it comes from here. It comes from
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
So matchmaking them intentionally, very intentionally,
Yeah.
matchmaking them with women like you who are out there in the world, who are so authentic and honest and true and are doing incredible work. It is not like, oh, you need to be with Christy because Christy does this in this industry and so do
Mhm.
you. You're both in finance, you should do this X,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's more of a a feeling. Like this is Christy is going to get you to this next level. She is going to really work with you. And it's reverse.
Yeah.
Equally, Pam, you are going to support Christy in some ways or help Christy learn more about herself or reinforce things she already knows. And that is where I saw the key is the multi-generational, the different people coming together and sharing wisdom, just sharing wisdom and knowledge. And then the workbook part of it is surveying and interviewing and figuring out what are the components that are really missing from a program. It's not about resume building or networking or all these things. It's about what is it that you know about your lens? Like, where do you come from? What matters to you? How are you using your voice? Are you stepping up? Are you sharing your ideas? You know, getting people to dig in and ask why, ask more questions, and then have someone like you to guide them on the journey.
Well, I can tell you put a lot of work into the workbook because it's very well thought out. And I thought there's just got to be a story behind this. So you just answered that because, well, you don't just come up with this overnight. I mean, this is a lot of work.
2 years. And it's 2 years of working on it and drafting and figuring it out. We did a beta with some of our mentors who, we did a beta last year and had a few women just like test it out. Let's just run through one module and see what happens.
Yeah.
And we got great results. People really liked the look and feel of the workbook, looked like how easy it was to do the activities. And they're like, this is doable.
This is good. Yeah.
This is okay. We can all do this.
So the 2 years in the making, let me ask, because I know that anyone who's ever created anything, and by the way, I love when you said entrepreneur of your own life. Oh, I love that. I was like, oof. I love that. Well, I know if they're listening to this podcast, I also put this on YouTube. So if they saw my hands, they know what I'm doing.
I'm not taking credit for it. It was a borrowed. It's a borrowed thing.
I love it.
And it's from another mentor of mine. And it's a borrowed. And this is what we're learning from each other.
Yes.
Right? Someone 100%. Gave that to me, that gift.
Okay.
And now I'm like, yes, that's what this is. It's you're leading your life.
Right.
And so now feel free to use it. Anyone listening, go right ahead. I can't claim it.
That's good. So, okay. So in the 2-year process of you building this program, because anytime you're building, creating, you get these moments of like frustration. Is it going to work? It's just part of the process, right? So what would you share? What insight, what wisdom would you share in that? Did you ever hit those roadblocks? Did you ever come to those points where you were just wondering if this was actually going to happen, if you were going to finally pull this together, what you had envisioned? And then what got you to move through that?
So what started it for me was I feel like I was tapped or called. You got that calling, you get that part of you that says you've got to do this no matter what. And a lot of that was we had a couple of interns that were working with us, and they were in their early 20s, and a couple of them had to leave all their activities in school because of mental health stuff. And that to me was like, no more, we're not allowing that. I instantly was brought back to my 20s and said, I didn't have this. So what's going on? And I think that was like the real big, like, why for me. Yeah. And then it became starting to interview and learn more from these women. Like, what are you going through? Let's listen. I want to listen to you. Yeah. And yes, the roadblocks came when it was people, again, not giving themselves permission to invest in this for themselves. And then it was like, are we going to get enough mentees? Are we going to have enough? It was all those things, right? As we're moving through, the workbook had its hiatus. Everything had something, right? Everything had an issue. And then it all came together. That's how you know it's right. When things they mess up, but then they fall back into place because you keep staying consistent and you keep putting one foot in front of the other. And you're like, okay, well, maybe I have to go talk to this person instead of this person. Maybe I have to write some of it. Maybe then, and I wrote a section of that workbook. Some of that's me. Okay. So it became that. It was like, I have to write this piece. So it's some of that stuff, right? That you start saying, okay, this didn't work out. Let's do this. And it really is like, who else is around that can support? That was the other thing, is get support. This is not a solo thing. And I also, the last thing I'll say about that is do it anyway. Like, do it anyway. I didn't get much pushback from people about this. What I am getting is other people saying the thing about, oh, you're not a nonprofit or X and X and X. And it's like, if I listen to that and I say, okay, I'm giving up. I'm done. It's
Yeah.
do it anyway. Do it anyway. And there is fear and there is uncertainty and there is worry. And it's like, is this going to resonate for people? Are they going to understand? Can I get people in? But I had enough of a network built up with women making waves that I thought, okay, I can call on my people. All of you are my people.
Because you're a community builder.
Yeah. So I called on my people, but let's do this. And everyone's like,
Yes.
yeah, I could get behind this. I'm telling you, shared mission, you start with that vision, that mission. Shared mission, you learn how to share it. You get your clarity around this is what I want to do. And you don't have to have all the pieces figured out yet.
Yes.
And
that
I
is
do
so
want to say,
important. I
honestly,
don't think people think they don't.
You don't. And
I
that
know.
was the part that I thought I put so much pressure on myself on that last program 2 years ago that I had all figured out.
Yeah.
It had to be perfectly set up, sponsor this, that. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. And the women that I was working with made me feel that way. They also were like, you're doing this wrong, even though it was from me and it was my idea. Brought everyone together. I'm like, wait, am I the one doing this wrong?
Right.
I know what I know, and there's things I don't know. Let's learn from each other. But it felt really like you don't know what you're doing, you know?
So this one had a whole different feel and
environment. And I started to believe in myself. So it took 2 years of that, put that on the shelf, let it collect dust. A little bit. And then as it started to spark up again, I'm like, are we doing this again? Are we going to do it? And just saying yes. And then going, okay, how are you going to do it then? Who do you want involved this time? And Tyler, believe in yourself. Like you can do this. Absolutely. And you can gather the right people around you that really want to support this. And that's exactly what happened. So I would say, do not hold back and do not wait, because someone else will have the idea and they'll do it. This is just the reality of it. If you pass it by, let it pass by, you have this idea and you really care about it, do it. And it's going to be weird and it's going to be awkward. And there are going to be pieces that need to be figured out still. So that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. That is so, so good. I mean, the consistency, 100%. You don't have to have it all figured out from start to finish, and you start gaining momentum. I mean, that is so true. All of that is so true.
Excited. You're like gaining momentum. You're like, I mean, just having you say yes, for example, it's that one yes. You get that first person that says, yeah, I'll be a mentor. And you're like, oh, okay. And then the next person and the next one, and you start like asking more people. And then you go to the mentees, and the mentees was harder. It was actually harder for us to get women in their 20s to say, yeah, like I can do this. They were not sure. But you know what else I can say is you need to show up in those spaces also. If you want people to come, it's an exchange. It's an energy exchange. If I want you, I want to support you. I want to be on your podcast. I want to invite you into like workshops, you be a speaker. I mean, these are the kind of things that you do. You support each other. And so if you're just saying, gimme, 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 I want all this. That doesn't typically work, especially in community building. It doesn't.
Well, it doesn't. And it doesn't in business. It doesn't in business. It doesn't in life. I mean, it's just not the way to go about it. And I think that what you're also teaching, especially to women in business or in their life, is that what giving instead of just trying to take, like how women can work together to support one another on their visions, on their projects, on their whatever is in front of them, that we don't have to work against each other. And and that's the kind of the overall looming message, I think, that what I see from afar of what you create is communicating to women how by coming together, how it actually is helping and benefiting everybody. And you're not working against each other. It's not that tit for tat. It's not, she's doing this and I'm doing this. It's really teaching team building as well.
Exactly. And so you start to become this whole group of people doing something together. And that's just the ripple. Then we talk about ripples into waves, because then you're just out there emanating that in your community and in your own circles and your influences, like where you are.
Right.
People are hearing that and seeing that, like, what's Christy got going on? Okay. She's all excited and jazzed up about this program. What is it about? And you can share it from a place of total love and like authenticity, because you're in it, you're doing it
100%. Yeah, it's fabulous. I've really enjoyed watching really the whole process, as far as even when you decided to do Waves of Wellness and watching how that came together. And then now the Next Wave program, it definitely is something that gains momentum. And then everyone starts to feel the excitement of it. And I know that your next group is that you're going to have your mentees literally are going to feel that, and they're going to be drawing into you to say, put me on the list. When can I get in?
I just want everyone to know we got everyone, like half of our mentees came in at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like really
Yeah.
at the 11th hour, we were like,
Yeah.
oh, all these mentors said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't have people to match them with. I was
Mm-hmm.
so seriously, and I'd gone to talks. I did all the outreach I could do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
I think it is hard at times, because I think ego gets in the way of, again, thinking we have to have it all figured out. And not to be a mentee is basically you're coming in saying, yeah, I want to see what I can learn and see what, I want to go through this program, but it probably feels a little intimidating sometimes. And so they need to understand that it is a safe space.
Mhm.
And we're all human. So the more we are battling with that ego, that you don't need this, you're fine, you got it, blah, blah, all the things. When you really, the ones that battle that the most are truly the ones that need it the most. Right?
Right. That is 100% correct.
Yeah.
What we would say is you can't, you know that saying, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink kind of thing. It's like,
Yes. Yeah.
I can give you everything right here on a silver platter, and
Mm-hmm.
I can hand this to you and say,
Mm-hmm.
we're here for you, we got you, all those things. But until they really believe like they can take that first step of just signing that, filling
Yeah.
out the application,
Right.
right? And just saying like, okay, let me be truthful with myself and I want to
Yeah.
answer these questions,
Yeah.
and really trusting. I mean, it's a huge level of trust that they don't
Oh,
even know
yeah.
who the mentor is going to be. They don't know who you
That's what
are.
I'm saying. It's very going into the unknown and just putting yourself out there. You talk about stepping out of your comfort zone. The hardest part for the mentee is just taking that first step.
Mhm.
And then once they get folded in, then they're like, oh, they just kind of relax and like, oh, okay, this is, but absolutely, there's so many unknowns. So I can totally see why but by you doing what you're doing and the outreach and showing up, it was your consistency in showing up and you being you, that you allow them to get to know you. And that's ultimately what led you to your success in that.
Agreed. It was me not giving up. And so I've
Exactly.
made this promise to several friends of mine who are in business also, like, I won't give up if you don't give up. So
Right.
it's really that thing of that accountability piece to myself
Mm-hmm.
and also to the community at large. And then to these women, all of you
Yeah.
that are in the program, like, I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to keep working through this and we'll talk about it. And then if there's feedback, please give it to us. We're open.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this space is. And we laid it right out in the beginning. Diversity
Yeah.
is beautiful. We are open to new ideas and concepts, and we don't have all the answers. And I think just by laying that out right out the gate,
Yeah.
it already allows for people to say, okay, I can share here. I feel this is okay.
Yeah. That's it's just great. I'm so excited about it. I think I'm very, very, very excited about what you've created. And I know it's been a labor of love, but you definitely should feel so proud of what you've created with Women Making Waves, because a lot of women are benefiting from that. So on my podcast, let's kind of switch gears a little bit. It's all about living life to the fullest. So what does that look like for you right now? Because you are a woman doing all the things and filling many different roles. And so I'm a big believer that, we have to really embrace the present moment and live life to the fullest. So for right now, with where you're at in life, how would you describe that? What does that look like for you right now?
Living life to the fullest. I think that it's learning to take more rest. For me, learning that it's okay to also pause. I know that's
Yeah.
funny, but it's okay to take my little back seat and just kind of also relish like this. Right now, I'm taking a 10-day vacation with my family, and it's a road trip. And I think that part of that for me is just that I put everything in place and said, look, we're setting it up ahead of time so that all this I can really just be present. And that allows me the space. I have to give myself space so that I
Yes.
can create more, or I can do
Mhm.
more things. It's almost that slowing down to go faster. And that's living life to the fullest for me, is relishing in what I've already accomplished. I forget a lot of times that I've
Mhm.
done so much. So having this
Mhm.
beautiful reminder, thank you,
Mhm.
on the show, and having other women come and say that to me is also great reminder that yes, we are doing amazing things and good work. But I also just I want to feel good every day, wake up and say, I'm doing whatever I am, one thing, 10 things, 20 things. I'm doing something good in the world. I'm putting good out in the world. And I am, and that's coming back to me. I'm going to do something that makes me happy, fulfilled, makes me have fun. There's like a few categories that I have. It's like
Okay.
fun, fulfilled, and free. Those are my three things.
I love that.
So those are my three things that I'm like, how do you feel free in your body?
Yeah.
Whatever. Do I want to dance it out today?
Mhm.
Whatever I want to do, go for a walk. And then how do I feel fulfilled, like
Mhm.
satiated? Is it through
Mhm.
food? Is it through
Mhm.
maybe
Mhm.
watching my favorite show? Maybe getting
Mhm.
a coffee with a friend? I don't
Mhm.
know. And then, feeling that fun, like having fun with my children, playing with them, or
Yeah.
having fun doing this. This is for me is fun, having
Yeah.
these conversations. So as
Mhm.
long as it's those three things are kind of satisfied in my day, whether that be through
Mhm.
work or not, because for me, work it's all integrated for me. So it's kind of like work, family is all of it, because
Yes.
we're a community of women. So
Mhm.
we're all friends and we go to
Mhm.
events together and all these things, but I'm also loving being
Yeah.
around them as
Yeah.
people. I'm having
Yeah.
fun with them. So I
Oh,
guess if
I
the
love that.
things are satisfied, I'm living a full life.
I love that. I love your three categories. That is brilliant. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to take notes on that. I love that. That is really something you need to share that in the next wave in
I'll put it in there.
the chat, in the chat,
I
you
will.
know?
I'll put it in the
Yeah.
chat for everyone to
Yeah,
have.
definitely. The Slack chat. That's what
The
the
Slack
Slack
chat. Yes.
chat. I love Slack, but to say Slack chat just seems kind of weird, but that's valuable. I love that. Okay, so I do want, when you just said what brings you to living life to the fullest, I love on your social media when you go into your dance modes. And for those of you that don't follow Tyler, how do people get a hold of you, and how do they connect, and
If they
how
want
what's the
their
best way?
personal page is at the Tyler Skinner.
Okay.
And it is Tyler. I know some people are like Taylor, but it's Tyler. And then just Women Making Waves is at women.making.waves. So if people want to check out the community, that's there. It's a different feel, different look. And then what you're talking about, the dance videos are
I
on
love,
my
well,
personal page.
I do. Okay, I have to tell the listeners this. So what I love about Tyler and what I connect with on her is that she is who she is, just like how those that know me and have been around me, they know that like I am what I am, and it's just it gets fun and crazy sometimes. And you have the best dance moves. And do you do that on Fridays, or is that like a set schedule?
I was doing it a while called Feel Good Friday, and I actually
Yeah.
a little bit. So I do need to get back into it. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. But I did. I was doing my Feel Good Fridays, and it was like, let's just put on a song of what I'm
Yeah.
feeling at the moment, of like what's happening in the world or what I'm feeling,
Yeah.
and just go ahead and let people see that. You
Yeah.
were not the only one that said they kind of miss seeing those. So I think I do need to bring that back.
I did. Bring it back, girl.
Doing it. And I go, yeah, that is me. Last night I went and visited a women-owned business here locally to talk about events.
Uh-huh.
And it was a wine bar. And it's
Uh-huh.
so they had karaoke, they had champagne bongs. It was crazy, like the little champagne things. But it
Wow.
was such a cool, it was all hot pink, it was all my colors. And then these people were just walked in. It was nobody was in there, totally dead, right?
Yeah.
I was there for a meeting. And then I ended up wine tasting with glitter bottles and all these fun things.
Oh
And
my
then
gosh.
there's a karaoke section.
Did you
So
do it?
of course I did. So they just threw on some music.
I love it.
And then people started coming in off the street because they were all watching us do karaoke. So
Uh-huh.
we brought in customers because a bunch of us just said, okay, let's get this,
Right.
and just started in and having a good time on a Thursday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that to me is where we can do that, right? We can have
Mm-hmm.
mix business with pleasure. You
Mm-hmm.
can do these things. It's okay.
100%. It is okay. when I was younger, I always was trying to be uber professional and uber, all the things, right? Where you just had to, I felt like I had to fit in a box. I had to wear certain clothes, almost like as a woman in business, I couldn't look too feminine, dial down things. I don't know if, the whole thing, right? So, cause you just want to de-emphasize. Well, I am like the polar opposite of that now. So enjoy, have fun, I love the hair, I love your hair. I mean, I love your dance moves. I love your individuality. I love your style. So it's just, you guys, if you want a little spice in your life and sprinkle on the cupcake, you got to get in touch and follow Women Making Waves and Tyler, because it'll brighten up your day for sure.
And I think I posted something about that one saying I'm extra.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you some because I have plenty.
Yeah, I am too. I used to think, oh, I got to dial it down. No, I'm done dialing it down. Like,
no, it's so much more fun to live out.
I know.
If you want to. And if you don't want to, also fine. But
absolutely.
Don't tell me I can't or I shouldn't,
mm-hmm.
because that's what I want to do. It's really exciting.
100%. I agree. Well, I love your energy. I love your vision, and I love the impact that you're having on women's lives. So thank you so much. And so those are the best ways for listeners, if they want to learn more about you, learn more about Women Making Waves, go check out.
And if they want to hear our podcast and they want to hear you on the podcast, because you've been a guest on the podcast coming soon, it's at Mishaps, Magic, Mayhem. That is the title of our podcast. So awesome. It's sharing true women's stories the way they want to tell it.
Beautiful. I'll be sure and put that in the show notes as well. So
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Tyler. It's been fun.
This is amazing.
Yes. And, if you guys, I know a lot of you listen on Apple or Spotify, but this would be one that you want to check out on my YouTube channel, because Tyler is all the things, and I just love it. I love it. So you definitely want to check it out. If you want to watch the show, you definitely want to do that. So Tyler, thank you so much. It's been fun.
So much fun. Can't wait to do it again.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.